Hi Facebook, hi YouTube, Josh Thielen here on another Freaky Friday. Here with the third edition to What's the Mortgage Deal? We are on round 2 of our conversation about credit. Last week we talked about Fair Isaac Company FICO scoring, the FICO score model, the 5 categories that make up what your FICO score really is derived from, the importance of each. So if you want to check that out, that's on my Facebook page, as well as YouTube under What's the Mortgage Deal. You can search for that or just check out my previous post on Facebook. So we'll jump right into it. Today we're going to discuss credit manipulation on a short-term basis as well as long-term. So if you had, say, 3 to 12 months, I'm going to give you a few ideas and things you can do. I will post some links in the comment section to some of the things I talk about today. In YouTube, it'll be in the description. Feel free to check those out, but those will be very useful. I will give you some credit cards, some prepaid credit cards that you can apply to help establish your credit. No matter what age you are, no matter what your credit scores look like currently, you should be able to apply for these prepaid cards, and we'll discuss them a little bit, and help establish trade lines. That's what it's all about. The types of credit you have, the length that they're open, but you have to start somewhere. So if you have negative credit, this will be important. And if you have no credit, these links can help you establish that. So on a short-term basis, let's talk about what we can do. It's something that some people know about, most people don't know, and it's called an authorized user, an AU. So if you have no scores, or if you have really bad scores and you have a family member, mother, father, brother, doesn't even have to be a family member, actually. It can be anyone that's willing to put you on their credit card as an authorized user. It's very cool. It's actually something that you wouldn't think you'd be able to do, but right now the credit models, they allow for it. The repositories allow for it, the creditors allow for it, and it can absolutely jack your FICO scores in a short amount of time. What you're doing is the person, your friend, family member, whoever it is calling their creditor and asking to add you as an authorized user to their card. What that means is the entire history, once that's established and it reports to the repositories, their entire history of that trade line will now show up on your credit. Absolutely enormous, huge. I've seen jumps with authorized users from 620 to 720 in 30 to 60 days. It's something that a lot of people aren't aware of. Wanted to bring it up to you today. It is the #1 way to help boost your score in the interim, in the short term, because a lot of people, they're trying to establish credit to get a car loan right away or to get a better interest rate or qualify for a mortgage, and this is a fantastic option for people. And again, you're not asking to have another card and use that line yourself or use that money yourself. You're just going on as an authorized user, and you're basically hijacking that person's trade line and that person's credit history in regards to that one trade line. So really, really cool. Also, on the short-term level, or on the short-term basis, what people often forget about, and they're constantly thinking about inquiries, but really what you want to pay attention to in the short term and how you can really improve your scores is credit utilization. So what do I mean by that? I mean the things, that trade lines that you do have now, make sure that you're utilizing them correctly. So if you have a $500 credit limit and you have a $400 balance, that's not good. You're getting crushed. Your FICO scores are getting hurt by this. You want to keep that balance at 10% or lower. The FICO model says basically 50% or lower doesn't hurt your score, but on an optimal level, you want to be 25% or lower, and the best option is 10% to zero balance. So if you're looking to manipulate your scores and change them in the short term, you want to pay close attention to your credit utilization, especially with your revolving cards. A little bit harder with installment loans, like cars or mortgages, because they're kind of stuck where they are at that time. But again, the revolving debt, and we talked about that in the types of credit last week, the revolving debt, pay close attention to your utilization. Those are the 2 biggest things you can do on the short term. Pay attention to that and see if you have someone in your life where you could jump on as an authorized user, okay? If you have no credit or poor credit and you want to establish new trade lines to get your credit scores up where you want them to be, there's three places that we recommend here, and I highly recommend, and I've used personally in my career, and a lot of my clients have, and that is a Capital One card. So you just Google Capital One prepaid, and I'll also put the link in the comments below. Another one's Sky Limit. It's a prepaid card. And the third one is First Premier. Those are the three best that I found that report right away. They'll basically take anyone. Sometimes I've heard of people getting denied. Kind of surprising to me, since what you're doing is using your own funds. So they're withdrawing, say $500 to $1,000. That's kind of where you want to be if you can. And they're withdrawing those funds, and you're basically using your own money to establish credit. So you have a credit limit of whatever you send the company, and then just like a normal credit card, you use that throughout the month, pay it down, and it's basically like a traditional credit card, except you're using your own funds. Again, I will post those three links below. It's Capital One, Sky Limit, and First Premier credit card. Those are the three best that I found. So great. Those options are what you kind of want to focus on if you're, have no credit, or your credit's kind of in the dumps and you want to reestablish it. Okay, so don't forget about credit utilization. That's the biggest part of revolving credit. Is the length of credit isn't that big, so it's 35% is your payment history. So make sure you're paying your cards, your loans on time. That's enormous. And the other huge category is 30% is credit utilization, the amount you owe based on your available credit limits. So I hope that helps you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Thanks.